air. So you can subscribe for just as low as $1. But that is patreon.com/wrestling_realm. That's for all exclusive shows and bonus material. Trust me, there's going to be a lot more stuff on there. We're just trying to navigate, do some things as we continue to grow and do our natural brand expansion. Also, it's the summertime. So that means there's live shows, there's live concerts, there's live events everywhere. And if you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, those live shows, sporting events, and much more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use promo code WrestlingRealm for any first-time purchase and get $20 off. That's right, we have a promo code. So shout out to SeatGeek. I think we just got a deposit into our account today, boys. That's right. Somebody used the promo code Wrestling Realm, and I'm sure they saved $20 off their purchase. And the way ticket prices are, especially if you want good seats at these shows, especially during the summertime, you want as much money off as possible. So head over to SeatGeek.com. You use promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase and get $20 off that purchase. Yeah. See what I did there?
I see that.
For those that do not know, on Tuesdays, we have Championship Culture featuring Brandon, the guy. If you don't, there he is. Hold on, there it is, right there. The Belt King himself. He had to throw it over his shoulder. If you don't know what championship culture is by now, Brother Brandon, tell the people exactly what you do.
Oh man! If you tune in every Tuesday to the Wrestling Realm Presents Championship Culture, where every belt has a story, and last night we took a dive into that age-old question: does size matter? After you watch this show, go over to Championship Culture. It actually has its own playlist. You can see this belt being featured on last night's episode. Just to give you a little snippet, 4mm, baby. Size doesn't matter. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Check out every other episode of Wrestling Realm when we dive into things like, does the strap matter? Who wore it back? You name it, we talk about it. All things belt, because every belt has a story. Can't wait to hear yours. Back to you, the realness.
That was like the most perfect news correspondent feature I've ever heard, man. This is why you're the guy. But definitely head over. No, listen.
Woo, look at that. Look at that, baby.
First of all, that Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship is a beauty. You might tell the people where you got that from. Are we not letting? Do you let your secrets out? I don't know if that's part of the culture.
Yeah. So this was actually made by a third party. Well, not a third party, overseas maker, and I got it on the sale price. This belt probably should cost closer to $300. I got it on sale. They were selling all of their 4mm belts for only $200. So it was a really good deal. And I don't know if you can see the details. If you check out the episode of Championship Culture, I showed some of the pictures in depth. And I'm just trying to point out the flags at the top. I don't know if you can see the actual details of it. And even look at that top. Dwayne, you see what's up there? See the wings? That thing is a beauty. So
I like the wings on that. That's a very different, like it's a very stronger looking wing expansion. I don't know what you call it. You know what I mean? When the eagles naturally spread their wings, but I actually like the way that design looks on that particular title. That title is very special to us because that was also, I was during an era that we got a chance to really embrace Ring of Honor because they at once were purchased by Sinclair Broadcasting there in our backyard. But if you want to continue this conversation, please, you never know. It may be live, it may be taped, it may be live and in person, like you guys were just 2 weeks ago at Monday Night Raw, where championship culture is really taking over the belt community. If you are a belt collector, if you are an aficionado, if you're just an overall fan about championship belts, and as a wrestling fan, you get a chance to be who you've always wanted to be by expressing yourself through championship belts. Championship culture is the place to be. So if you go to youtube.com/the wrestling realm, there's a playlist, Championship Culture. Check out the shows featuring Brother Brandon, executive produced by the man himself. H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D. Has a third. You guys do an excellent job, man. But good brothers, we are here today, and it's time to start the goddamn show. And usually this is the part we ring the bell, but I don't have the ring the bell sound effect, so we're just gonna blow the air horn real quick. Blow the air horn. There it is. Let's blew the air horn real quick. Because I was like, we don't have the ring the bell. No, it's okay. It's a change of pace.
I feel like brothers, I'm in the middle of the club or something.
No, it's okay. It's this is don't worry. You'll be in the middle of the club next week because next week it's going to be a party. We're not going to make the announcement just yet, but guess what? the Wrestling Realm podcast, Wrestling Realm Now podcast party returns next week, and we will have a very, very special guest joining us. Who will it be? You're gonna have to wait and find out. I think we'll announce it later this week. I don't know, maybe so later this week. But trust me, it's gonna be a party as it always is.
Playlist going. What was
Bro,
he listening to?
I have no idea.
Brother, he had the music in his head. So, like I said, the Wrestling Rum That podcast party returns. You know what we do? We take a step into club intellect. You know what I'm saying? We put on our dancing shoes and we just enjoy our guests and have a good time. But tonight we're gonna have a good time as well, is because we are on the road to SummerSlam. Now, usually we don't talk about SummerSlam in the same manner that we talk about WrestleMania, but the way Triple H has been doing things and the way they have been just putting an emphasis on SummerSlam kind of being the biggest party of the summer. At one point, that was the slogan for the pay-per-view. We are here to talk about this road because there's a lot of things happening up to SummerSlam, and there's a lot of things that are probably going to happen from SummerSlam. But this is a very pivotal point in the season of professional wrestling, even though wrestling doesn't have a season. But before we get into that, gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
what did you watch this week? Hold on, do we have that video up here? Nope. Is it on here? Nope, I don't see it. I don't think we have that. Wait a minute. No, I don't see it. Do you see it? Hold on.
No, I don't see it.
Wait, hold. There it is. Bam.
Hit it.
You had it. What did you guys get into this week? There's a lot going on.
And I spent most of my weekend, checking out the ladies at WFA. It's playoff time. But I tapped into Dark Side of the Ring again. You know how I am. I love those stories.
You in that Dark Side of the Ring.
Man, they're captivating.
It's hard, stories, man. Bro, it's hard. It's hard for me to get into the Dark Side of the Ring.
I didn't really know too much about Adrian Adonis before my time, but learned a lot about him and learned a lot about his troubles during that time too. And it's a tragedy. Let's put it that way. It's sad that the backstories of everything that's going on behind the scenes. So everything is not all hunky dory, as they would say, in the wrestling industry. So it's just different. It's different. That's the only way I can explain it, man. It's sad, but it's a good show though. Still a good show.
It's very thorough. That's one thing that they do. And one of the things that I noticed about Dark Side of the Ring and like the A&E, they kind of like they're uncuffed by the WWE public relations like boundaries. You know what I mean? They kind of go there and they tap on the things that it may be a little taboo, it may be a little edgy, but are very, very real. So it's eye opening. And like I said, it's sometimes what we enjoy the most. A lot of people sacrificed and they suffered for it, but it's Dark Side of the Ring. I tell you that. How about you, Brother Brandon? What did you get into this week, sir?
So I'm gonna surprise you when I say this.
I'm intrigued.
I'm watching my new favorite show, and I wouldn't think that I would say this, and I'm happy I can actually say I think I found a new favorite show. I just hope it don't let me down.
Barney and Friends.
Hold on, wait a minute. Time out. What did he just say?
I said AEW Collision.
Are you hold on, there you go. Hold on. Come on. Wow. I had to give you a round of applause for that one. So, because I'm sitting there like, wait a minute. I thought I was the only one that was hopping on the AEW train at this point. AEW Collision.
Collision it feels like a different show than Dynamite. It feels like a different show than Rampage. We got to see Julia Hart wrestle, which was probably the slowest match, but the fact that we got to see her wrestle and not just be a valet in the Dark Order, I mean not the Dark Order, I'm sorry, the House of Black. I was impressed. And when I tell you, give me FTR and Bullet Club Gold every Saturday, I'm okay with it. I didn't think that FTR would have a bad match. I didn't expect anything, but it exceeded those expectations. And you'll laugh when I say this. Samoa Joe tried his best to carry Punk. It just still didn't feel the same. But I'm okay with it on the show because we had to have it. It got it out. It's a ratings grab. And he paid tribute to them. Every time Samoa Joe do that walk away, I crack up laughing because I'm like, it never gets old more often, but it doesn't get old to me. It's like that's one of his moves of doom. They say the 5 moves of doom. And seeing Powerhouse Hobbs come back, seeing Scorpio Sky, yeah, he made his return too. Even with him and Action Andretti and them referencing MCW, I was like, oh, this is a nice. It was a nice feel. It felt like almost to the point of the TNA. I'm excited to watch it because they're trying to further some stories through the wrestling, and you can see it's actually paying off week to week, especially how they starting the show. I'm always a sucker for those. Yeah, me and Dwayne Allen, we're gonna go out here, we're gonna turn it up, we're gonna this is that, and then have the other team. Yeah, they think they're gonna get us, and then it's like, oh, you know how it starts and it feels like not just let's hear the music, somebody go to the ring, welcome to whatever I'm gonna say, happy go lucky promo, or I hate this city, y'all are trash. It gives you a different feel. It broke up the monotony of what we've been fed with lately, and I want to see if they can do it a third time. I can't wait to see Saturday what's going to happen. Now, the only thing I think is going to bring down Saturday is we got Collision, then Battle of the Belts.
Okay.
Back to back. So I'm just a little nervous. It might be too oversaturated, but we shall see.
All of y'all sipping this syrupy Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Have you watched Collision?
Brother Hugh's not a believer just yet. Dylan Matthews is not a builder.
I'm standing in line trying to decide whether or not to buy a ticket to jump on the train.
Go watch you watch the FTR match, you're gonna jump on the train.
Well, let's talk about it, Brother Hugh. This is this is what we do, right? So here's the thing, and I think what Brother Brandon is based on what I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Brandon, is that I think the biggest concerns that we had about AEW and their presentation and a lot of different elements that we liked that we were kind of complaining about or felt like they had too much money not to do these things. It almost seemed lazy, right?
Right.
And the reality is we're seeing a lot of those changes, and it's like, well, at least he's putting forth an effort. I know. Last week I pretty much had said, you know what, I'm able to enjoy AEW for what it is, and then later in the week, I believe Brother Brandon had kind of mentioned. He said, you know what, I had to lower my expectations for it is because they got it so hype. You know what I mean? They got it like, you know, this is a big thing, and it was all this money involved, and it's such a big platform and a big TV deal, and it's like, this is falling flat. And I still think some of AEW's most creative stuff they gave us was during the pandemic. You know, at what was the Daly's place? Is that the name of the place in Jacksonville?
I think so. Is it Daly's or Bailey's? Is it Daly's or Bailey's?
I think it's Daly's.
Daly's place. I think it's Daly's place. But yeah, Brother Hugh, this is what we're starting to see. We're also seeing an influx of talent. You know what I mean? So, you know, familiar faces. Like, I don't want to say it seems like we're putting a lot of sports entertainment, but there's a trend of certain people that you see on the same show. You know what I mean? And we've always wanted AEW to kind of pick its identity. Like, what are you going to be? Are you going to be sports entertainment, or are you going to be, you know, straight in-ring focus because that's what the heck we do? Thank you, Dylan. Dylan Matthews is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Always.
And I can say that one of the best things that AEW got, I don't know why this gimmick is working so well. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, and Christian with that, even in a promo art, he's holding the belt like it's his. That is just awesome. And I'm like, this man is really selling this right now.
At one point, I thought I said, wait a minute, I don't remember him winning the title, but it's Christian Cage being Christian Cage.
He came to the ring. When they did that interview, was it last week? And he came to the ring, holding the belt like it was his, and Luchasaurus was just walking behind him, and it was Christian's music. I said, they're all in. I said, I never let him lose. If this is what it's going to take to get the TNT title over, back to where it was when Miro had it,
let's do it.
Keep going.
Right.
So we say all that to say this, Brother Hugh. Just give it some time. Just give it some time.
Oh yeah, I'm paying attention now. At least that. You know what I'm saying? Before I wouldn't even look at it, but now I'm paying attention now.
And that's always the first step. I can't be mad at that. I mean, that's the least we can ask at the end of the day, right? At least say, okay, just give, because I had to do the same thing. But like I say, with the influx of talent, it seems like there's a certain type of guys that they're putting on these Saturdays. Now, as much as we enjoy, I always enjoy wrestling on Saturdays. I think it's kind of suffering TV wise because Saturday's usually not the best time to put any type of wrestling on TV. Like, you don't Fridays and Saturdays are known as death slots in the TV world because they don't usually primarily draw big ratings because people are usually more active on Saturdays. But with that being said, it seems like a prime opportunity is because think about it, there's nothing else on TV on Saturdays. Usually
nothing else at all.
And the wrestling community is rather large, so why not? See, you can try to get more eyeballs to the product. And don't get me wrong, like we saw on TBS, we watch a 605, WCW daddy. They will throw up on 605 Eastern time, if you will, on TBS. So it's not like wrestling hasn't been successful on Saturdays, but AEW taking a stab at it. But so we just, we're trying to give it a chance. Like I said, my attitude is a little bit different towards it. But speaking of AEW, something I noticed, Brian Pillman Jr.
Ooh.
AEW seems to have let his contract expire, brothers. Hold on. Let me just, this is the part where it gets real suspenseful. Hold on. So let me say it again. Brian Pillman, contract ran out. Here it comes. There it is. See, that was appropriate, wasn't it? By the way, I'm loving how the overlay still says Brian H. Waters with Brother Brandon up there in the corner. He's Brian H. for the night.
Right.
That's perfect. It's perfect.
I just realized it.
No, it's perfect. So, but Brian Pillman Jr. was somebody. He was in a tag team at one point, Varsity Blondes. It seems like he could never get himself completely going in AEW. Now, I don't really blame him, and I don't blame AEW either. Because see, look, I'm being fair now. Is because he was a lot of those early guys that came along are guys that kind of got caught up in the transition of what AEW was trying to figure out who they were going to be. That makes sense. And he kind of, you could tell there was something there, but I was like, man, he's a guy that I think would do very well in NXT. NXT is a smaller space. NXT is a small space with a big audience. And that's almost like, that's what you want when you create new stars. That's like how top-notch independent programs used to be. That's how Ring of Honor used to be before they were brought out by Tony Khan. So it's like, he was one person that we mentioned months ago. Like, I don't remember how, it might have been years ago. I don't remember, but I remember it was a while ago. We were like, man, I'd like to see Brian Pillman Jr. in NXT to kind of get that run and get that, that Shawn Michaels and Triple H rub to get an opportunity, because I think there's a lot there, but you also need time. And AEW has like 50,000 superstars on the roster.
Right.
They only have a handful of time as far as TV and storylines, and he just never really, he kind of got lost in the shuffle. But
I think it was with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his look, because we know what Brian Pillman was. He never really, like, if Curtis Axel or Michael McGillicuddy came out saying, I'm Mr. Excellence, or trying to make reference to
better
Mr.
than perfect,
it probably wouldn't have worked. I mean, you see how they kept trying to repackage him and give him a different look. But every time I looked at Brian Pillman Jr., I felt like, are you trying to, like, I think it was the hair, the look, everything. I was like, who is he? Is he just his son, like Davey Boy Smith Jr.? Like, when you get stuck in that, a real wrestling fan, and that's what AEW fan base is, that's probably what they're expecting. You put them in a tag team, and let's be honest, what were the Varsity Blondes? They were jocks wearing jackets. It was
Varsity,
like, and then when Julia left him, it was like, all right, so what are y'all? Right. So him being let go, I think this will probably be kind of like how, at least when the North were a tag team and Impact and Josh Alexander stayed, and what you call it, went to AEW, they were two separate entities.
Ethan Page. Yeah,
you totally forgot that they were a tag team because they are their own individual.
I literally forgot until you said something. I forgot he was in Impact.
But think about that. Now they're two separate entities, and would you really want to see, like, Kenny go? It's something there in the ring. It's just, I think, a new look, he ain't got to go through like a Drew McIntyre change where he bulks up. Be him, but just give us a different look. Cut your hair, do something different, so that way you look like you're a different person. And you don't have to be. Look at Scotty 2 Hotty. He was never Jerry the King Lawler's son until they mentioned it. He didn't try to be his dad. He was himself.
That's Grandmaster Sexay.
I'm sorry, Grandmaster Sexay. God rest, rest his soul. I'm sorry. What I meant.
Yeah.
No. I think everything you said makes a valid point. And I guess my question now is, do you guys think that you mentioned changing his look? And I'm saying to myself, okay, well, he, as of right now, you look at it, how Brian Pillman Jr. is. He looks like his dad did early WCW. Like he's flying Brian Pillman. You know what I mean? Now, my godbrother was obsessed with flying Brian Pillman, and I wasn't. I knew Brian Pillman from 96, 97-ish, Brian Pillman, right? So, like, it's if he decides to change his look and he decides to go for a more older look of his father, because I don't think he had a chance to really know his father. Would you guys be okay with that? You know, if you kind of had a, you know, kind of a hair's kind of more relaxed and kind of wavy and kind of a 5 o'clock shadow ish, and you know, kind of dressed like Rock Hard Juice Robinson with his leather vests and rainbow tie-dye t-shirts as a tribute to his father, or would you prefer him kind of go and be something fresh and completely different?
I mean, I would love for him to do something different always. Um, but if you have something like what your father had, you
Sure.
can kind of follow in his footsteps and just kind of give it your own taste. Now,
There
if he's
you
able
go.
to do that, then I think it would be great.
I mean,
I
we
think
saw it
it'd
with
be great.
Braun, right?
Yeah,
It worked for him.
absolutely. Now, if you can do that, I mean, that's some tough steps to take, though. But
It is.
if he can do something like that and just kind of put his own flavor to it and get over with the crowd,
Mhm.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Do you guys want to see him in NXT?
Yes.
Why not?
Okay.
I was about to ask, what's
I
the
just hope he don't get a
next
weird
best move for
name.
him? Yeah.
Like, I hope he don't get a weird name like Maxwell Johnson or something.
Listen,
It'll be like, you know, it'll be something crazy or like, you know, I don't hope he don't get a weird like name that's not relatable, because let's be honest, that's the biggest issue in NXT. There's so many names. You're like, what did you get these names from? Like, it's no, I don't want to say normal. But like, we don't get a Chad Gable anymore. We get a Chad Smirnoff. You're like, who is this person? What is that?
I mean, let's not forget he was Shorty G at one point. They tried that Vince McMahon sauce. I mean,
You think
Heel's name should not be mentioned because every time we mention his name, we have
There you
technical
go.
difficulties.
you think
Let
they
me
would
pull
actually
up the
change his
running.
name though?
Well, see, I don't see that. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm curious about is because Triple H and Shawn Michaels are kind of running the show. They have not necessarily shied away from the second and third generation superstars,
Right.
but they have given them different names. So like, look at Braun Breaker. He's not Braun Steiner, which still would have been a cool name. You know what I mean?
You're right.
He's
Alva
but at the
Rain.
same right, Alva Rain. Like she's clearly
He's
the
not
right.
Alva Johnson.
What is she gonna be? The Pebble?
Hey, there it is.
He's
I
Alva
know
Johnson.
that. Right, she could be Alva Johnson. She's completely different character. You know what I mean? But they it's not like they don't mention that she's the Rock's daughter every once in a while. So I don't know. It's a good question,
He
man.
said not even Chad Grey Goose. Dylan
No,
is crazy.
that's terrible.
That's
Chad Grey Goose.
That's Dylan for you.
Shout out to Chad Gable. He's doing wonderful things right now.
Yes, he is.
I like Chad Gable.
Thank you.
But thank you. But
Right.
also
So,
Kota Ibushi. See, I'm showing AEW plenty of love as we start the show. Kota
Lot of
Ibushi
love.
shows up to join the Elite. The Golden Elite is once again united to take place in the dang it, what's the thing they have? They call it's like they're
Blood and guts.
so
Now,
that
is it in Chicago?
I hope not. No, wherever all no, is this show a show that's supposed to be in Wembley?
I think so, isn't it?
I
All
thought he was
in, right?
trying for Blood and Guts.
I don't know. It is Blood and Guts. It's them versus the Elite
The
versus
Blackpool Combat Club.
there you go, the Blackpool Combat Club, and they finally got their fourth. They got Kota Ibushi. You know, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega have a long history with each other, but how do you I get confused about Kota Ibushi sometimes is because it seems like he kind of wants to venture off to the States and do something bigger, but every time they try to get him to a contract, he goes, "Oh no, I want to put Japan on the map." You know what I mean? So I'm happy to see him, but it's nice to see Kota. But Kota Ibushi was one of the pillars of New Japan, especially during the era when I was really getting into it. Like I said, that 15, 16, 17, 18 era. So Kota Ibushi is definitely a huge part. So it's always good to see him on American television. But that's one of the best things about what AEW provides, especially now. Is before we had to kind of go to these shows and get them on DVDs, we get it on mainstream television. So that's always a positive. So anytime we get that, I'm okay with it. Once again, thank you, Tony Khan. Shout out. I'm giving AEW a lot of praise. And you see this
That's
going on right now?
It's a
It is a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, all right. I'm still confused why Jay White's in a tag team, but it's okay because I like Juice Robinson. That's my guy. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it.
We okay.
But you know,
Okay.
no, it's okay. That's kind of what we got into, and I've followed suit with what I watched. So I was in the middle of all that too. But gentlemen, we are here to start the show in a way that we usually do. You know, we give people credit where credit is due. Recently, we have reached the 1-year mark with Triple H as the head of creative. Like, this is the time to sit there and just say, let's reflect on all the Triple H does. First of all, it was a whirlwind how we got here in the first place. And man, it has revitalized us. It's got Brandon out of hiding. He's got his own show now.
I know, right?
He's on the show with us every week. You know, remember when Brandon used to come on the show every once in a while? Like, man,
Right.
I don't know, man. I got to work in the morning. I'll see
I
what
don't know
I
if
can
I
do.
feel like it, right?
And I was like, hey, man, I get it because we run late. We burn the midnight oil, and now Triple H has reinvigorated this guy's passion for professional wrestling, the thing we all grew up on, the thing that we love, the thing we enjoy, the thing we talk about. And once again, Triple H being in control is probably 98% of those reasons. I don't know about you guys, but it didn't seem like it was a year. I said, man, it's a year already.
It did.
Let's reflect where everybody was when Triple H first started sprinkling the dust.
Man, I got
Brother
high
Brandon,
blood pressure from that bad boy. All that damn going seasoning.
Brother Hugh, I think you and I did the first show,
Right.
fresh off the conjurer. So, how do you feel now, a year in, Brother Hugh? Because I remember same situation. I think Brian was on the road. He was taking care of business or whatever, and I remember we had I think it was that first one of the first shows that we did where Triple H was like, he whose name should not be mentioned because every time we mentioned his name, we have technical difficulties, had retired.
Yep.
And then we were just like, and I think we were so blown away by like that first show after that moment. and we were more than thrilled to talk about just it seemed like a complete revamp. So like now what we're watching is what we consider the normal, but it's like before it was like, man, the show seems so different. But how do you feel now a year later?
Man, I'm loving it, man. Straight Mickey D's flow right now, baby. Man, I love it, man. Seriously, just the storylines, they're all captivating. They keep you interested. Like you just never know what's going to happen next. They keep you on your feet, on your toes. Like, man, it's crazy. You just think about the Bloodline by itself.
I was about to say, man, it's
a whole soap opera,
bro. They're talking about they should get an Emmy for that, and they're serious. They're like, no, this storyline is Emmy worthy.
Right.
So trust me, I trust you, brother. I know the feeling. How about you, brother Brandon? Like, what are you thinking, man? Like, we're a year in to the Triple H regime. This is the most I've seen you engaged in WWE programming in forever.
I know, right?
You know what I
mean? I'm gonna say this: 3 things that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole new main event scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole new roster, and there's no repeat matches unless the story furthers it. Because Monday was the first time I'm like, are we really running this match back? But we only ran the match back as an advertisement to further a storyline. And I was okay with it. I'm like, because, at one point, I think the wrestlers were even saying in their promo, we've wrestled you 16 weeks straight. Why are we doing it again? I think it was like the New Day or something. I think it was Xavier Woods. But we definitely, the main event scene is totally different because last year, going into SummerSlam, it was like, all right, who's Brock Lesnar going? Oh, yep, he's still Roman. I think 3 out of the 6 pay-per-views, that was our main event, wasn't it?
Right.
So it's like a whole new main event scene to the point it doesn't have to be. Who is that? What's up?
I have no idea. If I was a betting man, it's got to be Brother Raj. I didn't mean to disrupt your.
I
didn't want to disrupt. I didn't listen. You want to roll? I didn't mean to disrupt, but I said let me put this up here now because I'm like I want people to see this.
So it'd be funny if it was Emperor.
Bro, would that be nuts?
That'd be crazy.
I'm not paying attention. We had a whole new roster that we have so many matchups that still feel fresh. Like, and under who names we shouldn't. I'm not bragging on. I'm not down them, but I think he lost touch because he focused more on the entertainment. I think Triple H has found the perfect balance of entertainment because now we got the IC champion that I feel like last year this time we only talked about one thing. Now we're talking about everything across the board. There's not one match or something that doesn't feel like who would have thought I would want to see Becky Lynch and Trish, EO in any match, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Still want to see Charlotte and Bianca and Asuka. That's 4 women's matches that I'm actually interested. Not even to mention the women's tag match that they're still popping up because I want to see Chelsea Green and get the belt so they can fight Katana Chance and Kate Carter. Like, who would have thought we would have this many women's matches? That's like, well, dang, I care a lot more about those than not just the women's title. And it's crazy right now. So it's like, in a year, he's made you feel like I'm vested in more and more, not just I'm watching this because I have to. I'm watching it because I want to. Like I'm upset if I got something to do on Friday night. I'm like, oh, I want to see.
I know, man. I know.
Oh man, I want to see as the bloodline turns. You know,
There
and
you
now
go.
on Monday, I'm like, I want to see Judgment Day. Like I feel like that's the name of the episode now.
Yeah.
No, man, it's I mean cut you off, brother Hugh, but it's I think that's the biggest point, man. It's I think Triple H kind of found it's when he was running NXT, right? We kind of graduated or gravitated, I mean, to the way he did things, even with his small amount of time that he had on Wednesdays, right? Is because it kind of his way of telling stories, his way of making sure the presentation was there, his way of creating new talent and developing new stars in WWE. It was like, man, it just made sense. It seemed effortless. And to see him now on a bigger stage with all the entire roster, he has done things that we haven't seen anyone be successful at too much before. Like, for example, we haven't seen anybody integrate NXT talent into the main roster seamlessly before. Like it was always like start from scratch, and it was like, well, what's the point of NXT, you know? But it's like now it's like when you have somebody that's in charge that kind of gets it. Man, this is the most NXT talent are looking to come up to the main roster now is because they know that who they are down there and their characters are not just going to be, well, I don't get it, so let's redo this over again. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of refreshing. It's because it shows the talent that they have. It's a continuation of what we fell in love
It
with.
doesn't feel like a punishment anymore. It doesn't feel like I got called up and what am I going to have to do now? And it's like I'm called not up. I'm called to Raw or SmackDown now. Yeah. Even to the point, look at the NXT Tag Team Champions. They felt like a big deal being on SmackDown. And it was like, even when they took it to them, like, yeah, we want to fight. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and it was like, it felt like it's not a punishment anymore. Like, oh, God, what am I to do up there? I want to stay in NXT. I don't want to go. Now it's like, okay, it's a real transition.
And also vice versa. When talent gets kind of stale on the main roster or they don't have anything to do and they still have something to offer, they can go down and start to develop and work with young talent and kind of get that exposure as well, because NXT is not just about developing new people. It's about developing talent, period, right? So like I think I just got word. I don't know if this is true now, but I think they said Baron Corbin is officially on the NXT roster again. Yep. And then he had a whole promo on NXT saying, like, I want to define my destiny. I don't want to keep doing what people want me to do. I want to be in control. And I'm like, man, listen, if that's NXT is a national brand. Like it has its own national day of television on Tuesdays. So it's like, why not take that platform to be important in a smaller venue rather than get lost in the shuffle on the big stage when you've already been there? You have nothing else to prove. Like a guy like Baron Corbin is one of the biggest villains in all of professional wrestling. He's just annoying. He does his job very well. Guys like Mustafa Ali, like, you know what I mean? Like guys like Wesley are losing. They don't have dance partners, a lot of them, right? Because at the end of the day, they haven't lost touch with what wrestling is about. You got to draw. You know what I mean? And I don't care what anybody says. Familiar faces and familiar names always are going to draw, and you need those elements to help build new talent, because nobody's going to care about two new talent going at it after a while. It's because they're like, well, why do I care to watch these new guys going at it? But if somebody you're familiar with, it's like, oh wow, this is going to be good. You have a reason to kind of tune in, and we're seeing that. And I think that Triple H has done an amazing job, especially with Shawn Michaels in charge, and with main event players making their way back to NXT like in the original days. You know, because I remember when NXT first started, they didn't have an identity. CM Punk used to go down there and have matches with Seth Rollins, tag partners at one point, and and
John
that was
Cena even went down there.
John Cena, and even guys when they were called up, they were going back and forth. We still had when the Shield debuted on the main roster, they were still in NXT. The Wyatt family, when the Wyatt family made their way to the main roster, they were still in NXT. So and then even guys like when Rhino returned, one of my all-time favorites, when he returned to WWE, he returned to NXT. It's because he's a veteran presence that probably wouldn't have made that big of a splash on Raw, SmackDown.
Absolutely.
He was a huge deal on NXT though. He was fresh off the independence and Ring of Honor and the stuff he was doing with the rest of the guys, like with Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and all that whole, to me that's the game changing class of NXT. So along with Charlotte and also Natalia Neidhart, she pretty much made Charlotte. You know what I mean? And then you had Adrian Neville and Big E, and so many major players that come from NXT because it was done the correct way. So it's good to see just the way the business is in shape. Like I trust what Shawn Michaels is doing, and I trust Triple H, and I trust that our favorites are not going to get lost on the shelf. We look at Tommaso Ciampa right now, right?
Right.
We're watching him in the Miz. The Miz has gone back to being a serious character. I don't know what you guys, but I watched Raw, and I had so much fun watching the Miz and Tommaso Ciampa feud, and I was like, bro, this is a main event feud. Like I don't. This is where the mid card should be. It shouldn't be like, okay, you're the mid card because you're the mid card. It's like, no, your top of the card should be so good that everything else above it seems smaller, but it doesn't have to be smaller. You know what I mean? Like Tommaso Ciampa's out almost 9 months to a year, and yet they were able to pick up on their feud, their whole story. They kind of fast forward some things. You know, 1 minute they were best friends, but Tommaso Ciampa came out first of all looking very jacked, very good, and you can still tell he whose name should not be mentioned is because he made him dye his beard. See, if he wasn't around, he would have died. That beard would have had gray in it. That's the one reason I'm like, I'm kind of glad that the old timer still has some type of influence, because I hate when guys go like, bro, come on, man, put the real game back in your beard. But
Right.
Tommaso Ciampa and Miz has been fun, and then you look at Bronson Reed. I didn't get Bronson Reed at first, but then y'all don't. Oh, come on.
But let me say this about Miz before you go on to Bronson Reed.
Go ahead.
Because I think it was an episode of Championship Culture about who wore it better. And the Miz wore the white strap better. This is giving white strap Miz, because that promo he cut, and he said the last person to call me a coward isn't here anymore. I was like, that's that triple. He let him be the Miz that's going to get that heat. That now, even though Seth is the guy, the Judgment Day is doing something, Miz going to say, don't forget, I'm still him. He's going to remind us, I'm still him. Don't you forget it. Because he got the moments. And now I was like, that felt like a white strap moment. You know, and I was like, go ahead, okay, Miz, but Bronson Reed, I still don't get him. Like, I didn't get him in NXT. I didn't get him in New Japan. I felt like I don't know. I want to hear what you think about him, because
what do you think, brother? Are you pro Bronson Reed or not pro Bronson Reed?
I like Bronson Reed. I mean, I like what he brings to the table.
Okay,
very athletic, big man.
Mm-hmm.
He's okay on the mic.
Sure,
he's okay. He's good enough. But I would like to see more from him. That's for sure. I'm just not sure where you will put him right now. Like who you will put him with.
Yeah.
Dance partner wise. Like his best chance was probably with Bobby Lashley, but that's not going to happen now since, different shows.
Right.
But, yeah.
But Bobby makes you look good. Look what he did for Goldberg.
Absolutely.
He gave Goldberg one of his best matches of his career.
Yeah.
And in that triple threat match, Bobby Lashley, I got to admit, he definitely carried that match, and he made it like Bobby made him look good. So I'm just wondering, like, how many, like, Otis is a big guy that has character. Bronson Reed is supposed to be this menacing, scary big guy, but he's not. I can't buy into him, especially when he was losing. And it's like he comes out, oh look, the tsunami, and I'm like, I'm not excited.
He reminds me of a young combination of like a Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow, right?
That's a good one. Ooh, yeah.
Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow, and he's like it's like we never saw Vader or Bam Bam Bigelow when they were young, because think about it, they came up in territory days. So if you weren't watching those guys regionally, you didn't see those first 5, 6, 7 years of their careers. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair.
So when I look at a guy like Bronson Reed, I'm like, man, for a young dude, I see where they're going with him. At first, I didn't get him either. I didn't get him in NXT, and it's same thing. I didn't get him as Big Jonah. And I was like, bro, what exactly are you? He's a tweener, and that's the problem. He's tweening out, and it's like, bro, either you're gonna be like, so like in one situation he's a monster, another situation he's got like sunglasses and a suit on. But I think Triple H is like, he has this monster's ball in that mentality. TNA did it very well. That's one of the things, like, I used to hate. I mean, there's there's so much stuff that I really enjoyed about TNA that I never admitted when it was out. I just would always be like, nah, that's dumb. But the whole time I'm like, nah, that's pretty cool. Is TNA always had this monsters ball category, right? Where they would take all their monsters and they let them have monster matches. You know what I mean? So like Abyss was a guy that traveled from the main event to those type things, but then you had guys like Sabu, you got guys like Rhino, and then you even threw like a Marcus Corvon or Marty Brown or even a crazy Jeff Hardy in the mix of these type of matches, is because that's what they would do. They would do just to be monsters, come in, be destructive, and walk away. You know what I mean? And the way they book him is where he wins some and he loses some. So he can't win too much and gain momentum because now you got to push him, right? Like, yeah, and as you can see, they got too much time on their hands because they can't even push LA Knight because there's too many guys in line already. Like, they have plans, they have plans already. So it's like if somebody gets over, you got to hold them. Like, oh well, shoot, don't get over too fast. It's because we already got 6 months worth of plans to try to get this guy over, right? So he kind of wins, he kind of loses, but then if he loses, he's kind of a sore loser. And he seems like a guy that's like, I'm young and I'm slighted. So, you know, we don't know what his take is, but he always sticks his nose in businesses. He's always like literally the third wheel. He just comes out of nowhere and being destructive. And it's like, bro, what do you want? So, yeah. So, but I just think that we're just noticing him kind of getting his feet wet and just trying to show the world that he's like, yo, I'm not to be taken lightly. Big athletic guy. Like I say, he's not too tall, but he's kind of got that bulldozing frame. So I think he'll feel that guy. I don't ever see him being a good guy unless he gets over with the kids. You know what I mean? But that's like somebody asking, what is Bam Bam Bigelow? You know what I mean? He was a menacing big guy that was light on his feet. You know what I mean? And you know, he had a very, very unique look, you know. But and I think Bronson Reed,
it was different for the time. That's what I liked about it. It was like
very unique for the 80s. Yeah.
It made you pay attention to him, like, oh, he can actually. It was an entertaining wrestling match. You knew you wasn't going to get a 60-man Iron Man match, but you were going to get a 20-minute. Wow, that was actually a good match.
Yeah, and even his match with Lawrence Taylor at WrestleMania 9, as bad as that WrestleMania was,
right.
That's the one highlight that you usually talk about, right?
Yeah,
you talk about Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow. So it's like, you know, it's like I said, if we're in the infancy of what he will probably become in the next probably 10 to 15 years, you know, God willing, his career lasts that long. I don't know how. I think he's relatively young. So, but you know, we'll see. But he's getting an opportunity that he wouldn't have gotten otherwise if Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Yeah, if Triple H and Shawn Michaels weren't running the show. You know what I mean? So like I say, I know we have. There's been so many moments in the last year. There's so many that we could name. Does anybody have a favorite moment since Triple H has kind of been in charge of everything? I mean, it's endless. Like there's so many different things. It's like, and sometimes the lines are blurred where you can't tell which was what. But wow,
I would say for me, I don't care what y'all think. It's when Dolph Ziggler it's when Dolph Ziggler won the NXT title. So
no, that's I'm okay with that, man.
I'm just saying
because Shawn Michaels himself called him down and said, "Bro, I need you down here working my guys." That's my Shawn Michaels deep voice. That's the best I could do.
Well,
hey,
you
Nick,
know
how you doing?
You know my favorite moment is?
What's that?
That World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one. See, look, there's so many moments, man.
Yes.
But you know what? And the crazy part is, and the part that I hated the most, because it still messes with me to this day, is the White Rabbit stuff. Because now I can't even watch Raw or SmackDown without looking in the background, trying to figure out why the White Rabbit behind him. Oh my God, what's that? Is that a QR code? Why are they arguing in the back? I swear, that White Rabbit stuff has messed with my mind so much that I cannot just watch a segment. I be looking in the corner like, ooh, look, the curtain's blowing. Is something to happen? Oh my God, why is this person down here? Even when we were at the show, people will tell you, I'm looking around like this. What's going to happen? Why these people running around? What's going on? Who's coming down? What's about to happen?
I could only imagine you doing the commercial breaks when it's like it gets dim and they show the screen. You're probably like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, Brandon, remember when the lights got dim and then you heard that real loud banging sound on the side?
Like, what?
And everybody turned and was like, oh my God, what's this? What's this? It was nothing.
What is happening here? What is going on? And everybody was like, but wait a minute. Then I started looking the other way. I said, they always say to look that way because they're doing something this way. I was like, what's happening? I said, what's going on? But I can say, and I'm saying that because we were all down all kind of rabbit holes. Literally,
tell me about it.
It was like, crazy. Oh look, there's a ladder in the background. Maybe that means Bray Wyatt needs to get out of the hole. We were just making up all kinds of stuff, connecting all kinds of dots.
That weren't even there.
Yeah.
No, because I remember that first week back we watched Raw and it was like car crashes going on behind the scenes.
Remember the hand showed up?
Right, the hand freaking showed up and it was QR codes everywhere. We were like, bro, what
people
in
doing
the world?
promos and it's a QR code right here. I'm like, why
acting like they don't see
like
it?
This?
Right.
And it's just like, man, what it did was it pretty much got us reprogrammed where it's like you just can't miss anything because it was coming predictable. But like I said, it was kind of corny. It was like, look, that's just it's a show. Let's put on the best show tonight
But
and
he
move on to the
got you.
next time.
He
And he
got you.
got you at the live events because remember, we started seeing videos on Twitter of this going on at the arena, this going. I'm like, what are we
The
missing
music
here?
started playing and all that. Yep.
I mean, people were getting clues on their cars in the parking lots.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I
they were getting
rewatched the Matrix
locations and
all
stuff.
right, they playing White Rabbit. That was in the Matrix thing. I was like, are these connected? Where's that next clue? I was like, what am I missing here? I was all kinds of rabbit holes.
As much as it fell flat after a while, the return of the Fiend was insane.
Awesome,
awesome. I guess Bray Wyatt, I guess you can't call him a Fiend, but that was insane. It was fun. It was like I don't know if it was intentional or not, but if there was ever something to kind of pull us back in, Bray Wyatt's return had a lot. Because first of all, it was the impossible. Everybody's talking about Bray Wyatt. First of all, when he got cut and the rumors and the money and all that kind of stuff. So when he came back, it was almost as important as when CM Punk came back. When CM Punk came back, it was such a special moment. Like I'll never take that away from them at all. And like we kind of had that with Bray Wyatt, you know what I mean? And it's just, look back at it, hindsight being 2020, maybe Triple H gave him too much creative control, but kind of booked himself into a corner. But man, it's been a ton of.
Mm-hmm. No, you good? My bad.
No, go ahead. No, I was
about to say, how is he going to be perceived when he returns? Because the rumors are out there now that he might be returning real soon.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I think they have to kind of find whatever. First of all, anytime he leaves and comes back, it's going to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But they gotta find where that medium is, where it's like Bray Wyatt his return it had good parts to it, but it was so drawn out, like it was a freaking 13-week television show. But you got to remember,
waited too long for a payoff that didn't.
Yeah, you got to remember, it's still wrestling.
We had the Mountain Dew match. What you talking about?
The Mountain Dew match, I was okay with it until Uncle Howdy jumped off the thing and he missed him. And I was like, bro, in this day and age, you're not getting away with that one.
Right.
But you know what I think? Let's talk about that for a second. You know what I didn't like about the Mountain Dew match?
What's that?
Because Bray Wyatt had gave us so many memorable moments with the Fiend, we were comparing it to that. If we never seen the Fiend or the Fiend style matches, even the hey everybody, I'm so happy to be here, Bray Wyatt. We had that expectation, and I'm not saying the Fiend was 5-star matches, but the Fiend match was a certain way. He debuted this new mask that we really didn't know what it was. We didn't have understanding of who Uncle Howdy was. At least we knew the Firefly Funhouse characters. We knew you was going to get the Firefly Funhouse. You knew you was going to get the I'm messing with you in the ring. What we got was, oh, listen to me. I don't want to have to tell you going to force me to do this. It didn't connect. So then we got the match. I was like, I'm not really, because I'll never forget the first time seeing the Fiend come to the ring.
Yeah, it was like, so different compared to what we saw of Bray Wyatt before.
Yep, and it was like his whole entrance, everything. I was like, why can't we get more of that? But then he came down.
Hey, can you do the Bray Wyatt voice again, please?
What did I even say?
It doesn't matter.
You're gonna force me to do this. I'm trying to tell you. No, listen here, brother. You don't want him. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Come on, bro.
I'm going through something, man. I'm sorry, and I'm tired. I don't want to be this guy anymore.
I'm trying to keep him from you.
And then he starts tripping out. Then he trips out, looks at the camera like, but I will go to the depths of my mind to get where I need to be. Run.
And even for Undertaker to give him that endorsement, I was like, I don't know if he comes back, just give us the Fiend. I feel like the Fiend and the Demon are stable enough characters that they can keep coming back as a special attraction like the Undertaker, because even when Finn came back and he had the purple and red paint, he was still a demon and people were still trying to cheer for him, but he was Judgment Day Finn. But the Fiend could always be like the faces of Foley, and that's what I thought Bray Wyatt would do.
I thought we was getting that. I thought we was getting like 3 faces of Foley, man. And to your point, brother Brandon, I think if they kept it that simple, I think we probably would have got a better payoff, or the fans may have been more patient to kind of see where it was going. I think they veered off course way too much. So like you talk about the Fiend, the Demon with Finn Balor. That's one thing that he whose name should not be named, because every time we mention his name, we have technical difficulties, did well. He made sure that it was like, we're not going to keep doing this every pay-per-view. You're going to be the demon, like he did NXT. And although we had no problem with it in NXT, he made it special. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I want you to be Finn, which I personally prefer. But then when the demon did come out, it it was a big deal. Like, okay, somebody really got on his bad side, even with him and Roman. You know what I mean? Before this whole Judgment thing, he kept it special. So when it showed up, it was a big deal. And I feel like we probably could have did the same thing with Bray.
Because when that music hit and we wasn't expecting, we're like, oh, we getting the demon. And I felt like when the Fiend, the thing that was special, and I know we got to get back on track, but with the Fiend, at least when we saw him, like you knew it was an event, it was a moment. And that's why I keep saying, when we finish SummerSlam, it's got to be a reason Triple H is bringing back Payback. I'm sorry, it's got to be a reason.
You've been saying it for a while now.
Because there's got to be a reason he's bringing back Payback, and that's that's where the tribal chief head of the table.
I was about to say, is it the Fiend and Roman again?
I mean, that might be the filler feud till he gets to the Royal Rumble or something.
Can you put Bray Wyatt in a filler feud?
Yes. Because if you think about it, all of Roman's challenges have been a filler feud to get him to his next thing to get this run going. Because if you really look at it, it's a reason Bobby Lashley hasn't fought him. It's a reason that we really haven't gotten payoff to certain things. Like Drew fought him, went on. The next person went on. He really didn't have that many repeat. Like, that's why I'm surprised Kevin Owens had so many repeat matches. But look how far and few they were in between. They were a long time in between each other. Like, he might run it back 1 month, but then he moved on to his next challenger. Like with Edge. Look how long it took for Edge to get that quote-unquote rematch. And it was like, okay, yeah, you're done. We don't want you near the title right now.
Well, but those filler feuds have to lead to something else, which usually involves like a run-in, right? So like we had like a filler feud was Edge and Roman, right? And they had unfinished business. Edge versus Roman at what freaking pay-per-view was that where he wore those red pants?
Was it before SummerSlam?
I don't remember which one it was. It was the one where Seth Rollins attacked Edge at the end of the match or during the match. It wasn't.
Because which one did Cena come back? And remember, Cena came back. Because remember, for a while, if they beat somebody, the next opponent would appear.
Yeah, I don't even know. I just remember that was my favorite match. It's one of my favorite Edge matches that he had with Roman. But Seth Rollins attacked Edge at the end of the match, and then Edge and Seth Rollins began a feud, right? So it's like those filler feuds. It's like it almost like finish off with unfinished business because okay, I'm starting off. I want to take down Roman, win the championship, but then somebody else comes up and interrupts it. Now I got to take care of them because I lost, and now I'm no longer focused on winning the championship, but I'm focused on the fact that somebody interrupted my championship, and now I'm beefing with you. Right?
But remember, who got the most unfinished business besides Braun Strowman and the Fiend? Who got more unfinished business with Roman than them two?
Bobby Lashley, maybe a little hurt business.
Bobby never had any feud with him. He never had an issue with him, has he?
I don't know. Do you think they turn Roman face?
I think that'll be the same. You save Bobby for if, like, I don't want to wish it bad. Like, I think they're saying that in case something happened to Roman, you can always insert Bobby in until Roman comes back if something happens to him.
Bobby's been missing. So has MVP and Omos. What's going on, man? Anybody thought about that?
They're coming back stronger than ever.
I'm just saying, something to think about. But I don't know, man. Like you said, unfinished business. Maybe a little hurt business going on there, brother. But we gotta move. We gotta move on. The road to SummerSlam, man. Well, like I said, we just want to take the time to kind of just acknowledge him. Hold on, I got to think for that. See, I'm not even on point. I'm not used to it. Where's that? Is it on here? There it is.
Acknowledge me.
So we did, Triple H. We acknowledged you. We want to celebrate you in your year as head of creative of WWE. But we, like you said, we're on the road to SummerSlam, and we talked about a lot of different things. But gentlemen, as you've noticed, we have a lot of potential matchups. You know, this is the part of the on the road to any major pay-per-view in this situation, SummerSlam, where they begin to tease the potential matchups, right? So you look at let's start at the top. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Brother Hugh. This feud has been going back and forth. First of all, let me ask you this. Have you been enjoying this feud between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar? Because, you know, we saw Cody, and I can speak to this because Brother Brandon reminds me how embarrassing I looked on live. I was prepared for celebration, ended up looking dumb, to the point where I deleted it live, but he was there watching all the time, waiting for that moment, and he never just won't live it down. Won't let me live it down. But we assumed, okay, Cody's coming back. He says he's gonna finish the story. It's obvious, storyline is obvious. Okay, this is what's going down. Cody Rhodes loses. I'm blown, and I'm like, wait a minute. How the heck does he win the Rumble, have all this momentum, and then lose? But as you can see, we saw that the Bloodline had unfinished business, which is, at the end of the day, was the right decision, as you can see now, being a Monday morning quarterback. But at the time, wasn't trying to hear it. But Cody Rhodes has diverged into a side feud, right, on his road to redemption for himself, forgetting the entire time that this is Dusty Rhodes' son that we're freaking talking about. So we should have known, but I feel like I got. Thanks a lot, Trips. Well, he has seemed to.
Anybody missed that live? You missed the.
Bro,
he was in rare form.
I was blown. Man. I can't even. Yeah, I'm glad I deleted the video. Brother Brandon thought it's the funniest thing in the world. He never lets me live it down, but he decided to
say it like this.
that's literally how. Bro, I was so confused, and it hit, and you start checking the end of the night, you start checking the time, like, well, it's 11:15, so that means it's not enough time, enough, and I was like, man, I'm done.
You were defeated.
That's it, bro. That's the term. That's exactly how I felt. I was defeated. I wanted to put the thing down. I was like, bro, I'm not watching wrestling no more. But I got myself I was fine the next day, but in that moment, I was like, bro, this is dumb. I turned into a child, man. I was like, nah, this is, we always talk about, like, I'll give it a chance to be. I was like, no, this is just stupid. But Cody Rhodes ends up veering down this road of Brock Lesnar out of all goddamn people. And Brock Lesnar picks a fight with Cody Rhodes, obviously, and now they've got beef. They are tied at this point, correct? Are they tied 1-1?
I believe so. Yeah,
they're tied 1-1. I believe they are. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar tied 1-1, right?
I thought Cody won both. Are they 1-1?
I believe they are. I believe Brock Lesnar beat Cody Rhodes.
Where's Dylan? Dylan, can you fact check it for us?
Right.
Yeah, Dylan knows. Dylan will know. And then Cody caught Brock Lesnar slipping, and he beat him.
Right.
So I ain't gonna say he fully beat him. He caught Joe slipping. And there you go. Dylan confirmed. It's 1-1.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
He's our Wikipedia. He's the Wrestling Realm Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, easily. So
thank you. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan. So here we go again. And Cody Rhodes calls him out. Cody Rhodes he's been looking for smoke every time Brock Lesnar's in the area. Anytime his music comes on, Cody Rhodes is looking for a fight. I respect it. I like it, but this is dangerous. This is Brock Lesnar.
That is dangerous.
It's dangerous, man. So, Brother Hugh, does he have a chance to win this last fight? It seems like this is probably what we're gonna. First of all, you never know what's going to be in with Brock Lesnar because he might just be pissed about it and just come back out 6 months later and still beat you up like he always does.
That's the thing. I don't know if they're going to drag it on.
Like he did with Bobby.
With Brock Lesnar, you can leave it alone. Like you fought by exactly. He leaves it alone. Comes back 4 months later, like, no, I'm not done yet.
Come on,
no, I'm not done. I still got beef.
You thought so?
I said, dang, I thought you'd be over it by now. Like, nah, you come back 4 months later. But
let's wrestle again. I want to know.
Let's wrestle again. It's like, does Cody Rhodes stand a chance against Brock Lesnar for a third time?
I mean, eventually he does have to beat him, because he has to conquer that hard time.
Okay.
So he
part of his story, right?
Right. It has to finish out the story. So I mean, of course, the end of the story is Roman Reigns. I would think so, but he most definitely. I don't know when it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
But he does have to conquer Brock Lesnar. And I think he will. Maybe not at SummerSlam, but I think he will. Okay,
so if he doesn't conquer him at SummerSlam, that means it's going to be a fourth match.
It's going to be a Royal Rumble or something like that, yeah.
You think? Well, Brother Brandon, what do you think? You think Cody Rhodes has a chance to beat Brock Lesnar for a third time, but not for a third time, but for a second time in the third match? Yeah. And do you think there'll be a fourth match? Because I don't know. I can't keep up with Triple H, and I'm done trying. I was like, is it going to be a fourth match? And I'm like, I wouldn't even think about that till Brother Hugh said something. Now I'm like, oh shoot.
But here's my question for you, and this is me being me.
If
Cody wins, what does Cody do next?
Exactly.
Well, this is the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is old school hero literature. He's got to add some more depth to the story. He's got to climb that mountain. He needs another obstacle, right? But no offense, does it get any bigger than freaking Brock Lesnar? Go ahead.
Nah, you gonna Bray
Who's his
Wyatt after that.
obstacle? Like, you get what I mean? Because he clearly, when he came, what was he going to say to Seth? He said, "What do you?" And then Brock Lesnar music hit. So even we teased that, he can't go against the Judgment Day because that'll be him versus, Damian Priest. No, Damian already and something else. Finn. We won't need to see that again. They've been testing that water.
You're right.
What does he do next? Survivor Series. What is it like? Team Cody versus Team who? It's like, what do you do next? So if he beats Brock, okay, yeah, he got a SummerSlam moment. But how do you get him to SmackDown to finish his story? Because we can't. We got to finish the Bloodline story, and we got to have something happen at Payback that I keep talking about. And then, we got, like, what do you do with him? Like, how much more white meat baby face? Hey, look, I'm here. Everybody, whoa!
Bro, those are priceless moments. Don't take away the woes.
Right, don't disrespect.
No, I'm saying, how many more can we have? Because, like, when on Monday Night Raw, we was there and he went after Brock, I said, oh, this is different. And it's so funny. Seth and Roman are so much similar. They both got out of the ring the same way, like, yep, we're going to go this way and let them have their little fight. And it was like, okay.
Just casually moved over, like, well.
But I'm just worried about keeping Cody. Like, we had when the Monday Night Rollins, we had him because it was contenders and it was during the Vince McMahon. You know what, man? My Wi-Fi gonna go out. So I'm like, what do you do with Cody now? Like really, what do you do with him? Like, I think him and Brock is a good rivalry for right now, but how much more creative can Cody beat Brock? Well, how many more times?
So you know what that means, right? That means there's going to be 5 and 6 more matches. Like, it's going to be 3 more matches. Because I'm like, you guys are making all the good points, and I'm like, well, now I'm on Brother Hugh's side. Like, well, you know what? There's no more bigger obstacle than Brock Lesnar. He's going to leave. He's going to leave for 2 more months and come back when there's something else big and beat him up some more. And this rivalry.
It could go to Randy Orton.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with that. It's like Randy Orton's by the time he comes back, he's going to be celebrated so much,
right?
You know what I mean? Now, in true Randy Orton fashion, he would be celebrated and still RKO him anyway and piss the crowd off so he can be here one more time. But that can't be a throwaway feud, because at the same time, like that can go for another 5 or 6 months.
There's a lot of story behind that. Yep.
Here's something you do after he beats Brock.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not like this, but everybody's been popping up. Does he pop up at NXT and tag with Carmelo for a little bit to put more eyes there? Because Steph got Monday on lockdown. Like, he could go do something there and come back.
But see, why does he need tag if he's got Trick Williams? They just tagged up against the Judgment Day. Like, you make Trick look bad.
But it seems like everybody keep going to Trick Williams, and Trick Williams keeps, you know what I mean? They keeping him in the limelight. Like, he's clearly tagged as their guy in NXT. Because look what he did with Seth. The heroes coming, hey, you doing a good job type thing. And then here comes a heel to counteract it. Or what do you do? Because you don't want to see him wrestle Trick Williams. Or does he go down there, make an appearance? What do you do to keep him going until – because I hope he doesn't win the Rumble again. Like, I would just hope that he wins, like, the Elimination Chamber to get the Rumble.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I forget. Elimination Chamber is always a wild card. Yeah. Because I think we
let somebody else win the Rumble, because I think this is Gunther to win the Rumble.
I think he's on deck. I think, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's on deck. I think
Gunther, and I'm saying it now, Gunther and Bailey will win the Rumble next year.
Ooh.
I put my money on that, because it's the momentum is just there. Like, if there's anybody, for goodness sake, which is why I think one of the matches that we're gonna get at SummerSlam is Drew McIntyre and Gunther.
Yes, sir.
I have a gripe, and I was waiting all week to say anything. I purposely put everything. I got off Twitter. I didn't use up my 400 tweets or whatever it is that you can't do now, whatever the case may be. And
you can only do 400 tweets.
I don't know, something now where, like, you can only look at a certain amount and they cut you off for something stupid. Who knows what Elon and them are doing? I can't keep up. I know Elon on first name basis, by the way. That's why I call him Elon.
That's what's up.
His friends call him Elon, so I call him Elon.
We should do brunch one day.
No, yeah, definitely. But he could pay for it. He's got
Right.
On you, Elon. So Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. Now, I want you. I'm telling you, I waited all week for this conversation. I don't think we skipped a few things on the run sheet that's in line because I'm getting to this first since it was brought up. So I'm saying this now. You know I'm long with it. So
Have at it.
I've been seeing a lot on social media. People like, oh, why is Drew McIntyre in a feud with Gunther? Why is he fighting for the Intercontinental Championship? He's above that. It's beneath that. And I'm saying to myself, since when? People, I don't know if it's because of our age or how much wrestling we have seen. If you look at the way the Intercontinental Championship has been rebuilt, main event players have held that title, right? And just because you're a main event player and you hold the IC title goes along with whoever's carrying it. So if you're a top guy and you're a IC champion, it doesn't make you a mid-card title. You're a top guy that holds this championship, right? That's like saying oh, Macho Man was a mid-carder because he was Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 3. Going into WrestleMania 3 rather than being the main event with Hogan and Andre. Does that make Macho Man less of a main eventer? No. Was he considered a mid-card guy? No. It's because if you think about it, those territory days when they did A and B shows, you sent one champion to one show, you sent another champion to the other, right? Mm-hmm. It didn't mean that. I don't know where people get this idea that, oh, it's Drew is, first of all, it only makes sense. It's because I'm with you, Brother Brandon. Gunther is up next, but he has to lose, right? He has to give up that championship, and he'll probably chase that championship to try to get it back. And who else is a worthy enough opponent? Like, he had a knockout drag out feud with Sheamus. Amazing. Like, once again, main event guy, Sheamus, top draw in a match with him. Like, Gunther's not in matches with Mustafa Ali, and he was. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't matchups. Like, it was a slaughter. Those matches with like that level of talent that's considered the mid card was for us to put sympathy on Mustafa Ali, not to say, oh no, this dude really has a legit chance. When you look at Gunther's dominance, his size, his demeanor, he's got his posse. You know what I mean? Who else is going to feud with somebody that massive where it's going to make sense, where you could say, oh no, he might genuinely beat him? If Seth is carrying the World Heavyweight Championship right now, you're still building new stars. If Roman Reigns and the Bloodline is just printing their own money, you have a returning Drew McIntyre that seems to me, I guess he got the contract that he wanted. I guess he got the creative. Why would he not want to have another redemption run with that championship? I'm going to tell you right now, you put the Intercontinental Championship on Drew McIntyre right now, he can main event whatever show. It doesn't matter if it's not the World Heavyweight Championship. That title has been booked to close shows. Mm-hmm. That title has been booked and to be held as a prestigious championship. Who cares if it's a former WWE champion? You didn't say it when AJ Styles held the title. Nobody said it when The Miz held the title. And you talking about a guy that main event at WrestleMania with John Cena.
Bobby and Seth held the U.S. title recently.
Bobby, Seth, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, what makes people think that just because Drew's so massive, why would first of all, who else is going to beat Gunther? He's had it for 350 days, however long it's been. He can't keep it forever. Who else has a legitimate shot of beating him that's going to keep the importance on that title? You got to put it on a main event player. And Drew McIntyre is a main event player. I'm not against putting Intercontinental Championship on main event players. Like, most people say, well, put it on the young guys so they can come up. Like, it's not the days of the Carlitos and the D'Lo Browns and the, the Road Dogg and the Billy Guns and the Godfathers trying to help guys get a rub by giving them a championship. Like, nah, man, we're going back to the days where this title means something. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, it doesn't have to be, oh, well, this is the one that's next up. Or like, nah, I'm fighting for this title. Like, Gunther doesn't say, he's not going to say, all right, this is cool, man. I want the World Heavyweight Championship now. He treats the IC title like he's the champion of the world. The Miz treated that Intercontinental Championship like he was the champion of the world. Macho Man treated that. He's walking around holding that joint like this, like Flair did, and slinging it and had it. Like, he held that championship with prestige. And he made it clear, I'm the champion of the world because I'm the Intercontinental Champion. That's how those old dogs held it. Yep. You know what I mean? I don't see the problem with Drew McIntyre doing it right now. That's just my gripe. What do you brothers think? It's because I saw it everywhere. Everybody's like, "Is this a good idea?" Or yay or nay. Or somebody's like, "Oh, this is dumb." And I was like, "What?
What else is there for Drew to do besides that?"
it's not like he's going to get lost in the shuffle. We've watched Triple H book that title with prestige and importance, correct? Like with people's, I don't understand. I'm maybe it's me, and I'm asking because I'm like, well, listen, maybe I see it my way, but maybe my way is not the same. Maybe I need a different perspective, but I don't know. Brandon, talk to your boy because I'm confused why people like he's above that. In what way? Why would he not elevate the title because it's on Drew? Give like Drew having a long term IC title reign. That's huge. It's massive.
So I'm gonna say it's crazy because I don't think that in recent years we forgot how the lineage or the prestige could be with that title because it reminds me of Triple H is trying to revert us back to the WCW days of the United States title being that important belt and having that, regardless if you're a world champion. Oh, something's going on with the feet.
No, it's your fault because you mentioned his name.
So,
see, you thought your Wi-Fi was going out, but Brother Hugh's Wi-Fi went out because of you.
So I will say this: it feels like, back when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Ric Flair, all these world champion level guys was holding the U.S. title, we felt like it was a major deal. Even when they were trying to build up as the workhorse, doing like the Jeff Hardy, the Johnny Nitro, Randy Orton, all of them. That was that era of that
Carlito era.
Title.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we went like to Shelton Benjamin, the Kofi Kingston, all of these people getting that title. And it was like, okay, we're building it up because it was the workhorse. We can call it the workhorse. We can call it prestigious. It's what era are we moving to now with this title? Because lest we forget, like you said, it went from Shinsuke to, was it AJ? I'm just going to AJ had it. Remember.
And then Sammy.
Sammy he was stuck and he came back.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about him being the real Intercontinental Champion, even when Daniel Bryan held it, the white strap one, we had all of these people that we're trying to build it back up. And even when it jumped between everybody, I think that keeping it on Gunther is a good thing for him to pass the honky tonk so that way it matters. Like, I was mad that Sheamus didn't win, but I understand because Triple H is trying to establish dominance with these belts and make them mean something more. So that way, in defeat, Gunther, it doesn't matter who he loses to, it's going to be like, wow, that was an awesome match. Because if you go back to his NXT days, it was like, wow, this guy really was a threat. He beat him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Intercontinental title isn't necessarily a downgrade. It's all about how it's being booked right now.
Thank you. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, if it was hot potato, I'd be like, it's not the 24/7 title where we had 6 changes in 2 minutes. And yeah, I would get it if it was a thing where like the TNT title where it was flip-flop and he kept winning it back. I'd be like, all right, this is pointless. Why have him lose it? He's a 8-time Intercontinental champion in 6 months because he lost it 9 times. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. So I think it's a good thing. I just really, in the back of my mind, I would have loved to see Sheamus get it so he can get his Grand Slam because I think he does deserve it. But if Drew gets it, I'm thinking about the beyond now. What's going to happen now when Drew does stuff?
He becomes. Think about it. And brother, you jump in. It's Brandon's fault. He mentioned whose name should not be mentioned. He thought his Wi-Fi was going out, then yours went out. Think about it. Look, the same way that Gunther was booked, where he had open challenges, he started the show, he closed the show. A lot of time, he was the focus of those shows. Drew he can have that run where he has his spot on the team, right? He is a focal point. So now you put the strap on one of your main event players, but now he has purpose because he's a champion, right? While Gunther begins his chase for the World Heavyweight Championship.
But then Drew could maybe do what we've been needing to do and bring out that Bronson Reed. He could bring out Johnny
Work
Gargano.
with the young talent.
Johnny Gargano could be a person that's chasing Drew for it. Like, look what he did with, even though he was injured, he helped get Andrade over at NXT, right? Or was it Bobby Roode? No, he took it from Bobby Roode, right?
Yeah.
From Bobby, yeah.
And then he lost it. He helped get Andrade over. But imagine what he could do to get some of these guys over and not necessarily defeat, but just in good matches.
And he did the same thing for Bobby Lashley. He helped Bobby Lashley in that kind of main event push.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's something to think about, though, brother. You got any more on that before we move on?
Nah, man, he keeps the prestige, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it. But he keeps the prestige, and like you said, is a good move for Gunter to go ahead and move on and keep it pushing.
I think he's gonna, like I said, I think I think they're gonna start to, if he know, I'm telling you, man, it's that Triple H does, bro. They telling you
It
stories,
is.
right? We watched
Mm-hmm.
we watched Raw, and now we seen a little dissension with Imperium with Giovanni Vinci. You see how
Right.
Ludwig Kaiser was looking at him after the match, and I said, first of all, they being petty, like it was his fault,
Right.
but because he took the pin, Gunter, he really, he's been patient with his guys. When they lose, a lot of times he'll get in the ring and like now beat them down, like, you know what I mean. But he's starting to turn on his guys a little bit. And then Ludwig just smugly looks at Giovanni Vinci like, I'm like, please don't bring up Imperium. Like, y'all fought to get him back together. But he looked at Giovanni Vinci like he's not carrying his weight because he was the reason that they lost that match. So there's stories to tell there. So and I say stories to tell is because it gives you something in between. To the focus is he's the IC champion, he's dominant, right? So if he loses for whatever reason, he lost to a formidable opponent. Now what do you do in the meantime before you start to prepare for what I think? I'm with you, brother Brandon. I think he's the breakout star of the Rumble. First of all, he was the MVP last year, and he lost. Like that was his coming out party where he shows that he belongs. Like
that was Triple H saying, "Let me show you why he's good. Let me show you. Let me put him on display for you because I don't think y'all know who this guy is. I'm gonna show you."
And the crazy part is, to that point, brother Brandon, we didn't, for the mainstream WWE audience was not that exposed to him because we saw him as Walter in in the UK in Progress and everything else that he was doing, and then well as NXT. But he spent majority of his time in NXT UK, and we saw him in takeovers. But and then when he got to the main roster, he whose name should not be mentioned, kind of, we got him in doses. But he said,
was
"Listen,
he,
you got
2.0, he had to change his name. It was NXT 2.0. That's when
that's when he decided, I'm no longer Walter. I'm going by a different name now. That was the name of my ancestors.
I was like,
I was pissed. Remember that? We had a whole
saying,
campaign.
he
I
was
was
big mad.
blown, bro.
Big mad.
Only
because
reason
he was in the ring and he cut that promo and said, "I am Gunter."
because that was the first time he showed up in NXT 2.0, and I was like, oh yes, on, but he didn't belong there either. Because come on now, who was going to face off of him? He put a hole in Sheamus's chest. Like, what the heck was he going to do in NXT? But if the reason I'm not mad is because if he said he had no problem with it and he was good with it, then okay. You ain't mad, I ain't mad. Mama call it Clay, I'm gonna call it Clay. So that's we'll see. I just had to put that out there because I was like, yeah, this is like, what's everybody talking about? They're talking crazy out here. But that's what we do, man. We gotta speak some knowledge to these folks so they get educated out here. But of course, everybody likes it. They want what they want. But we've got a few more teasers for SummerSlam. We have a few more. Let's go to the ladies now. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Somebody said that if we don't get that match in that same cage that Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle had their match. What was that match called? Anybody remember what that match was called? Was there a special name?
I don't know. I just called it the Lions Den.
Was it considered the Lions Den?
It's not the Lions Den. That's Owen Hart now.
Because the Lions Den was but I'm like, they called it something. I don't know.
I forgot what it's called.
Because it started NXT. Remember with Timothy Thatcher?
Wasn't it a pit or something?
They had
not
that
the fight,
NXT.
the fight pit. It wasn't the fight pit.
It wasn't the fight pit?
It was the fight pit.
That's like Raw Underground. Was that what it was? Was it Fight Pit?
No, Raw Underground was no. Dylan, is it the Fight Pit?
I feel like it was a Fight Pit.
Dylan, tell us. Dylan, what was the name of the match of that cage that Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle when the night the Fiend debuted? Well, he should back up.
Came back.
Because like you said, we saw that in NXT the first time. And somebody was like, man, if we don't get that match for Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, it's going to be a letdown. How do you? I think it's a good idea. I like the idea of it all. Is because I think this is going to do wonders for Shayna Baszler. Of course, there's plenty of rumors about Ronda Rousey. I don't think she's quitting. I think she's going to take another 6 or 7 month hiatus like she always does.
It was a Fight Pit. I just looked
it up. Fight Pit. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So I think we should get Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. We saw Shayna Baszler pretty much turn Ronda Rousey. She pretty much made it clear, I'm not finna be your Robin to your Batman. Like, I'm tired of living in your shadow. We did some things, but I don't want to do anything now. And I think it's great for Shayna Baszler and her character because she's a bully. She's mean. Definitely. You know what I mean? And she does it so well. But you guys want to see Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey in a Fight Pit match at SummerSlam?
Not as their first match.
Nah, that's
okay. Wait a second now.
That's like the best.
I wanted to build up to it. I wanted to be because I feel like they could have, and this is going to sound crazy. They could literally have a match on every PLE up until WrestleMania to have that fight pit match to say we done blew off to we done got to this point.
Okay.
Because like as soon as you think they're getting away from each other, let's say Shayna want to do something, Ronda come down, cause of the match. Ronda having a match, the next pay-per-view, Shayna come down, cause like they could literally be in backstage segments. You know, I keep thinking about when they were in the car. Remember when Ronda and Charlotte were in the car?
Charlotte, bro, they was kicking the windows out. That was dope.
I mean, that's how.
Yeah,
that's the level.
That's how you see it.
I want this to feel like a blood feud. Like even give them the first match, 2 months from now, give them a Hell in a Cell. 2 more months from there, give them something else. So it gets to this. Is the only way we're gonna settle this in the fight pit. It could be 1-1 in a draw, 1-1. You know, time limit exceeds or whatever. They say the only way to settle this is in a fight pit because that would. I think that Shayna could do it because look, if we get the Queen of Spades back, we in danger.
She's coming like this, doing a little thing.
Yeah, we get that Shayna Baszler back. We might actually be in some for a ride, and I think she could actually help Ronda in that ring because they trust each other.
Yeah,
and actually put on the match and say that was decent. That was actually good.
I'm okay with it, man. I like the idea of it, but I'm curious though. I mean, if the way you booked it does make sense. So you successfully changed my mind. What about you, brother Hugh? You okay with the? You said you rather be not the first. That's the first thing you said. Not the first match, or you rather be like maybe the third or fourth match.
Yeah, they can carry this on for a while, man. Like it's I think it's a great matchup, especially for Shayna. Like it's been a while since they
she hasn't had a good dance
well at all.
Yeah,
right.
She hasn't had a good day because she's too dominant. Like
absolutely. So now this is her time to go in and show out against Ronda Rousey, the biggest name in potentially the biggest name out there right now.
Sure, especially
for
in
women's
combat
wrestling.
Sports. Yeah,
right. Combat like UFC. Like, come on now. Why not make it happen?
Nah, I think it's.
Why don't they have a match over there in UFC?
On UFC, right? Yeah, there it is. Marketing.
Oh man,
we're going back to where it started. I mean, one cross promotion, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't see this.
I don't know if I'm putting too much stock in Shayna and not enough in Ronda, but I think that the casual audience is going to want to see it because of Ronda, but not know who Shayna is. And we got to build Shayna up to be that NXT Shayna, so people know she's a credible threat for Ronda because Shayna wasn't a big name in MMA like Ronda was. You know, let's call it what it is. She kind of was like on the same level as like Marina Shafir and all of those other MMA women. They were names, but they weren't like Ronda Rousey level names.
No, I mean, I get that. It makes sense. So book it real quick because we got to move on. I know we're burning midnight oil, but Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, brother Hugh. You got 3 matches. Who wins which win? Who wins match 1?
You probably got to give it to Ronda because she's already booked as that dominant force. Nobody can beat her, but at the end of the day, I would say Baszler would have to win the whole feud.
Okay, so you going Ronda, Baszler. So Ronda first match, Baszler wins the second match, and then Baszler edges Ronda out for the last feud. What about you, brother Brandon?
Shayna wins the first one because she said, "I'm gonna beat you at what you thought you were. I'm gonna show you I'm a real wrestler." The second one is I want to hurt you in a cage and give them like a Hell in a Cell or a steel cage match, Ronda. So that way Ronda say, I mutilated you because that's what I do. I'm the baddest woman on the planet. And then the third, we going back to our roots. Then they had a fight pit.
Oh, okay. All right. So would you turn around and do a cage match and a fight pit match? Because they seem kind of the same.
I just said Ronda needs something to batter Shayna to say I took her out. She might be
like last woman standing or submission match or something like that.
Submission. Actually, yeah. I take it back. No cage submission. And she said, I made you tap.
There you go.
I told you I was the baddest woman on the planet because Shayna beat her in something she's better at. I'm a better professional wrestler. I'm a better submission. I beat the submission magician. And then we're going to have our blow off in the fight pit.
Okay. See, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2 different perspectives, but they both make sense. And if you guys are saying it, I can imagine what Triple H and them are doing behind closed doors.
What?
So I'm not even
Man,
gonna try
Triple
to,
H about to bring a 6-sided ring like TNA and say, "Here you go." He's
bro.
gonna do
What?
something completely left field. What we thinking?
I mean, it's kind of been that way, and I've just accepted it. I'm tired of trying to beat the game master at the game. No pun intended, because he is the game. I didn't even realize what I
Here's the
did there. You
game.
see that? I didn't even realize what I did there,
See?
but no, it makes sense though, man. I'm definitely looking forward. This is like I agree with you both, especially when it comes to Shayna Baszler. This is probably one of the best things they could have for her, like, because this is a big time program. Like I said, this is main event sports headlines. Anything with Ronda Rousey in it. Like I don't care what anybody says or how they feel about Ronda, but she's on the same level as Brock Lesnar for the women. Like she brings a lot of eyes to the product. Every sports outlet is watching what she does. Good win, loss, draw, whatever the case may be. But we got somebody that's kind of stepping up though, man. We got another tease, man. Somebody that I have been he earned his spot, man. He deserves it. And I'm just happy that he's really getting this bit of this rub that he's getting. Ricochet and Logan Paul.
I like it.
Did you guys see the flip that he did?
I saw it.
He finally did the flip on the main roster that he did in NXT with your boy Patrick Clark.
Who's that?
Patrick.
Keep going.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Keep going.
yeah, the old the velvet one.
He
The
stepped over,
velvet
but
one.
he stuttered a little. I was like, Ricochet, you
He's
better
the
let-
whoa.
you better let-
Right.
he said, I said, oh, Ricochet, you're better than that. He lands on his feet. Oh, you know what I mean? Like he stuttered. He's like, but it was still cool. I don't know if you saw the picture he posted. Somebody posted a picture of him mid flip. How he was grabbing his arms. Like that was a clean flip though. He definitely.
I wasn't expecting him to do that. You know, because I feel like Ricochet is getting, once again, everybody's getting the push that they should have gotten, or that they received in NXT. Like they're getting their version of that on the main roster now. And I love Triple H's approach to like almost like this attitude of unfinished business for talent. Sounds like something I never heard of Dre. It doesn't it? It's awkward, isn't it? Somebody named like that. It's a weird name. It's a very weird dream, very velvety.
Hey, that's wild.
But Logan Paul versus Ricochet, it's a feud that I didn't expect, but obviously the guys had chemistry since the Royal Rumble. They're both really athletic guys, and Ricochet is a master in the ring, and I think he can. Him and Logan Paul. First of all, Logan Paul has proved to be, you know, every bit of the performer that he has sought out to be, especially in WWE. But Ricochet versus Logan Paul is going to be very, very exciting. And I'm happy to see Ricochet get the promos. He's on the trucks. He's featured. You know what I mean? He's just not out there. I wait for guys like Cedric Alexander to get to that level. But right now it's like one foot can get in the door better than 4 and 5. You know what I mean? So shout out to Ricochet, man. That's a big that's huge for you. For like Logan Paul's a big, like, imagine being Logan Paul, right? He has a larger following than the WWE by itself. You know what I mean? Especially on social media, at least in regard to that. And Ricochet, he goes, I want to work with Ricochet, or whatever, however they came to the agreement. That puts Ricochet in a huge stage, on a big platform, because now the world's going to know who the heck Ricochet is.
Right.
We know him as wrestling fans, but he's been flipping and flying for years. But now to be in, that's a main event feud. So kudos to him, man. I don't know if we'll get it, but like I said, it's something they've been teasing for SummerSlam. But then we have just another one of the things I wanted to mention before we get into the Judgment Day. It's the main event of our show. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. Man, I wouldn't dare sit here at this time of night as we record this and even try to get into all the nuances about the situation.
I quit.
But we'll keep it short and sweet and say Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, 1-on-1, no bloodline, no right-hand man, solo at bay. I mean, a very, very emotional Jey Uso after Roman Reigns fake renounced his tribal chief moniker and his family title and relinquished it to Jey Uso, only to attack him and brutalize Jimmy. Later in the night, Jey Uso shows back up, not here to play any games. He took out Solo. Solo's sitting there saying things like, I'm not the little brother anymore. So he's got an attitude with his older brothers because they're not respecting him for who he is. And Jey Uso's like, I don't care about no brothers, no cousin, no nothing. Me and you in the ring 1-on-1 so I can beat you up. Beep. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Are you guys buying it? Is that a big enough main event for SummerSlam for our undisputed Universal World WWE National champion of the world.
He said national.
Yeah.
I just
And then the
listen,
last thing,
he's the champion of everything,
Universal,
brother. I had to put it all in there. Like Roman's is the
Realm.
king right now.
Did y'all hit a pop for Solo though?
It's crazy, ain't it?
Hey. Oh my
Crazy, ain't
gosh.
it? I was like, oh, I think it's just a testament to the performance. They're doing such an excellent job with what
See,
they're doing,
man.
man. It's just like, look at this. The Cadron says that Roman needs 420 more ish days to beat Hulk Hogan. I don't think he's got another year and some change in the man. You talk about almost a year, another what?
I don't know,
3,
man.
6, 9,
It's
12,
gonna
almost
happen.
another 4 months.
It'll happen.
I don't know, man. Because if when's Cody gonna ever finish his goddamn story? Roman,
I don't know.
if Roman holds the title for another 6 months, but Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, man. Are you guys buying this? Does Jey Uso really have a chance? I mean, think about it. This it's a different ball game now. There is no bloodline, right? It's a family feud. Let's call it what it is. It's a civil war. Jimmy Uso on one side, Solo on the other, the wise man in the middle, holding the straps. It clearly, physically, Roman Reigns clearly outpowers Jey Uso 1,000%. But man, I'm gonna tell you right now, the look on Jey Uso's face that I saw on Friday was the look of I've had enough, desperation. Like he almost snapped, and I said, okay, he might mentally be in a space where he's able and ready to take on his cousin. He's always had a certain amount of respect for Roman. It's because as they grew up, he was the older brother. In their culture, it doesn't matter like how they do siblings. If you guys grew up together, that's how you guys are raised. And he was big cousin, and he was always the alpha dog in the group. Just like Jimmy Uso, they're twins, but Jimmy came out first. So he's considered the older brother. That's how it is in their culture. And the look I saw on that man's face, I said, man, he might be able to take Roman down the way he looked. But he pinned Roman once. Is it possible that he could pin Roman again?
Not right now.
Why is that? Tell us why.
Hey, man, this story is going to continue forever. We're going to get a great match full of drama. That's what we're going to get. And I don't know when he's going to lose those titles, man. I really don't. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening right now.
Does it still annoy you that he carries around all 3 belts? Because I think that's just some straight gangster.
I think it's
hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious to me.
Of course, the belt guy's going to like it.
To keep in your mind,
yeah, right.
The counter. I think they're doing that because they want you to keep in mind that's still a Universal ticker.
There you
go.
Still
a WWE ticker, so you know that we're still counting these days. And I'm gonna be honest, it's crazy because
it's like visually symbolic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when Roman said, "I main evented before this," I was like, and he said, "I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask." I was like, it made you believe it, but I'm gonna go a little left field. I'm glad we got 4 more. It's 4 more weeks to SummerSlam, right?
I believe so. It's not till August. August 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
What he did to Jimmy wasn't enough to keep him out of SummerSlam. I feel like it should have been a little bit more brutal to the fact that Jimmy couldn't come back, and it's Jay on his own fighting for him and Jimmy. Because right now,
the man got beat in the head with a belt. What you talking about?
So let's talk about wrestling beatdowns. Let's talk about wrestling beatdowns, right?
Let's talk about wrestling beatdowns.
We've seen worse beatdowns where you're like, ain't no way this person's coming back. This beatdown was a Jimmy will be back in a week or 2. Or he'll be right back at SummerSlam to be in his brother's corner to stop Solo from interfering. That's what to me, that wasn't enough beatdown to be like, he suffered this and, Jay will be out of action for 6 to 12 months or as a result, he's out and, it's not enough in that storyline. So I know it's going to be something extra because, yes, I want to see Jay come to the ring at SummerSlam on his own, across the ring from Roman and Solo and the Wise Man. And here comes, here comes Jimmy to help him even the odds. You know what I mean? So I think that's the story we're going to get because who would have thought that SummerSlam would be main evented by a tag team specialist?
I'm telling you, man.
That's not in a tag team match. That's my crazy part. Like, who would have thought within the Triple H dust?
There you go.
Because
that's
remember,
that dust, man.
Thunderdome, it was okay. We ain't got nobody. Look, y'all two got to work together. Roman, we want to care about your health. You get in there with your cousin. Y'all do some things.
Mind you, you know, remember Jimmy was out with it. He was out legit with the knee injury. Like, he was recovering from that surgery that he had. So it's like, well, it was only going to be those type. That's funny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh because it really was very select people come to the Thunderdome.
Yeah,
like,
it was like
it wasn't a lot of people working at the time.
And at the time, remember, I was saying, put Roman in a bubble. Why is this man even trying to? Because he had just came back from battling his own illness.
Leukemia. Yeah, man.
The world's got an illness. I was like, put that man in a bubble. If he, like, everyone's like, oh my god, he missed WrestleMania. The man just been battling leukemia.
Right. Yeah,
it's fine. Let him stay home.
Right.
So who's safer to put him with than? Look, if I get sick, I'm gonna kill you. Like, and that's what you try to do in the ring. But I'm just excited to see.
That's some.
I'm excited to see how this is gonna play out because now I'm gonna put a monkey wrench in it. Are we going to see? We already know that's going to be the main event, or is it going to be the main event?
That's the $1 million question. What else?
What else? Seth. What's Seth going to be doing? What's Rhea going to be doing? And what's Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka?
There's no way in the world you main event SummerSlam and don't have Roman Reigns.
I was about to say, man.
Show, man. There's no way in the world.
But I'm saying, when anybody else. Out, but here's the dangling of the curtain.
Okay.
You close it out, Jay pins him, or Jay gets disqualified. You still got a briefcase that you can play around with.
Oh man.
Because the Judgment Day is so Raw focused.
What if? I see. I don't know, man. It's tough.
Like, I know they're going main event, but that's why I said, what is Seth going to be doing?
That's
because you notice he really don't have an attached feud right now. The SummerSlam card is pretty much laid out. We know the main event, but we need that strong opening match, or we need that strong middle of the card match too. And like one of the women matches can fill either one of those. But what do you do with Seth? You can't not have Seth, but you got that contract dangling because he on NXT now with his briefcase. Who's to say they're not going to be in the same place? He don't tease something.
Well, let's talk about it, man, because that's kind of the main event of our show. Is we were talking about, as people are still coming into the chat. Thank you for joining us. I know it's late in the game, but the Judgment Day in their most recent dominance. It seems as if now that it seems like ever since the Bloodline split, the Judgment Day has just been on fire. Like, they have been showing. First of all, they just show up in NXT, like, causing problems, and they called out Trick Williams. They called out Carmelo Hayes, current NXT champion, and I was like, man, these like the Judgment Day is found a way to stay relevant, to stay dominant, and there's a little bit of dissension in the group that I think we're going to probably end up exploring a little bit more down the line. But you also have the most recent Money in the Bank contract winner, along with the Women's World Champion. There's a lot going on right now, okay? And they have managed to stay so relevant, so dominant for such a long period of time. And it makes you really wonder, like, man, I don't think anybody saw this actually coming when it came to the Judgment Day, because when you look at the original, I guess, inception of it, which didn't last long with Edge and Rhea and Damian Priest, man, you look at what the Judgment Day is now versus what it was. These guys and gal is absolutely dominant each week on TV. We see, how many times do we see Rhea on TV? We see her backstage segments. We see her interrupt the interviews. We start seeing, and I'm like, man, and she's being booked as a star, not a women's wrestler. You know what I mean? Which I think is absolutely awesome. And you look at Damian Priest, a guy that has unfinished business, a guy that helped carry Bad Bunny to one of the greatest matches again. That is like him and Logan Paul keep fighting over who's going to have the greatest celebrity match of all time. You know what I mean?
Right.
He gets the rub, wins Money in the Bank. Now, you know, that Finn's trying to fight the world heavyweight champion, loses. They try to help each other out. They interfere in matches, and there's a conflict of interest because the big dog, Damian Priest, holds that briefcase while Finn is still saying, no, I still want my hands at Seth Rollins. It's a lot to unpack here, and then you have freaking Dominic. Dominic has got to be one of the biggest villains. It's just tradition that, like, he's on some Vicky Guerrero type stuff. As soon as he touches the mic and opens his mouth,
I was about to say, that man can't even speak. Right.
Bro, they go up another octave. And they make sure to let you know that we're like, they're like waiting, like, I dare you to say something, Dominic. And as soon as he opens his mouth, it's like massive boos. And it's like
Rhea's getting cheered.
She definitely is getting cheered.
Pass the mic to him. It's like, we don't want, give us back. And that's what like with Rhea Ripley. And I'm gonna just say this: I feel like they figured out the secret formula to her promos because they've gotten so good. When she was doing them long, drawn out promos with Charlotte, when she was doing all those long, it was like, all right, Rhea, just show us that you can do it in the ring. But now it's like, give her the mic back. Okay, here's the backstage segment. Like, especially when she took the mic and said, "What you heard? This is Judgment Day business." I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's on another. She's ours. She's on an, I want to say another level because Rhea's always been good, but now I think she's showing her platform and she's just that good.
She's a big deal, man, and she's the focal point of the group a lot of times. You know what I mean? So think about it. So like in this situation, she's the peacekeeper, right? She went out there. She first of all, she cut Finn's like, look, Finn, I know you mad. Hear me out. Whatever it is, we'll talk about it backstage. And it's the subtle things like her putting her hand over the mic. You know what I mean? She could have been still talking on the mic, saying what she had to say, but she purposely put her hand on the mic. She was like, Finn, and did, but there's, you know, WWE's projector's so smart. They move up with the external mic on the actual camera. And she's like, look, I promise you, whatever it is, we'll talk about it. And Finn's like, all right, it's on you. You better hope this goes well, because if not, it's going to be your fault, whatever the case may be. And I was like, man. And then once again, it's Rhea Ripley making it very clear. She's got beef with Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. She's like, yo, stay out of my business. Stay away. And I'm just like, man, she is all over the place. And people will say, okay, well, she's not wrestling and defending the title. It was like, well, you don't need to when you have somebody. She's in a main event storyline, right?
After she got finished that match and EO looked at her and said, huh? I was like, I didn't know I wanted that match until EO was standing. I said, I still want EO and Oscar, but I was like, oh, I might want that because they only had a triple threat. They didn't have the whole one-on-one.
Yeah, right. And they got a whole year to figure it out. Like she has that briefcase, and you don't know when she's going to strike. You know what I mean? And Io's such a polarizing, but she's a silent but strong character, right? So she's not a promo girl. She's not somebody that's like involved in these elaborate, you know, storylines. So it's like she can always lurk as long as she's in that ring and she has that briefcase. Anything is possible. Any point in time. You could be in any type of situation and her music hits and she's running down there with that briefcase. Even if she's coming to tire, she'll pick up a piece of trash. She's going to be alert. It's because she has that briefcase. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. But the Judgment Day, man, I never in a million years that I would think that I would watch them. It's like you said, Raw is about the Judgment Day now. Like we watched the Bloodline be what it is. It's like, man, now it looks like we're kind of watching the Judgment Day be the same focal point in another meaningful story on Raw. Like now, like we saw the dominance, right? Now we're seeing dissension. It's like you watching a movie, and there's these points where you go up and you go down, and it's like we watched them come together. They get rid of the old head. We watched them stand with each other. We watched them rise, and now everybody's at the top. Rhea's at the top. Dom is at the top. Damon's at the top. Finn is at the top, already at the top guy, but now there's jealousy in the mix because Damien is like, look, I'm trying to capitalize on what's next, and then Finn's like, well, what does that even mean? It's not just like me, is it? Because if it's so, now you and I got a problem because the prince is still the prince, and I'm just like, man, this is unreal.
It's crazy because I honestly want to see them with the tag belts to see how the dissension will work. Can you imagine that being another wrinkle? Because she definitely came in, and he was like, what did Kevin Owens say? Nobody said your name while you're here or something like that.
Oh yeah, he said, yeah, he zaps every week. Like, what are you saying? Nobody called you. Nobody said your name. You can't come to the interview if nobody calls you.
It's against the rules.
Yeah, because can you imagine if Finn and Dom won the tag belts and they talk about Freebird rules and then that's going to cause more dissension? That would be crazy. It's just another wrinkle, and I just love that it's so many segments that are meaningful now with the Judgment Day.
Thank you, and that's the whole point. They're meaningful segments. They're not just like, hey, see you out there in the ring, chump. You know, they have. It's like when you see them, they have a certain purpose, and it's like we're seeing that attention to detail being placed on their stories, you know, etc. The same way we watch it with the Bloodline. It's like you can tell this is a main event story. Like your show starts and ends with it. If Rhea Ripley comes out there in the beginning, you're going to see her in the middle. You're going to see her at the end. Not just because she's a champion, but because she's involved in stories that involve all these other people that are, you know, kind of surrounding them. So like, you know, so the Judgment Day is burning bridges and making. They showed up at NXT for goodness sake. Like,
can we pause for a second? Because
I
didn't realize her shirt said "Mommy's always on top." I didn't realize that's what her shirt was saying.
Wow.
That's a little stiff, isn't it? That's oof, man. That's what we doing now. Huh? Is
didn't
that
know.
sold? Is that sold in the shop?
Yeah, it's on WWE shop because I was going to say shout out to their shop. Their shirt that looked like Funko Pop / little cartoon.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And Rhea Ripley's shirt came up first, and it said "Mommy's always on top."
It's
That's what she said.
The man, the innuendo. I'll tell you right there. The double entendre, whatever the heck they call it. Why are people still coming in?
Look, she probably is selling out them shirts.
I would not be surprised. The Judgment Day is probably now the most over group in professional wrestling. Wouldn't you guys say so? Now the Bloodline is kind of having a civil war.
I think they are the must-see thing on Raw.
I don't think it's any other factions in any of the promotion that people are saying, oh no, I need to see like Blackpool is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. But Judgment Day's on a different level.
You're right.
I think it's the Rhea Ripley aspect of her being the world champion.
Definitely a different
and her
dynamic
being
to it.
like they don't have a de facto leader, but she clearly is the figurehead of those three. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
Yeah,
handle her own, handle her business on her own, you know, every time, but then she's still handling the Judgment Day business.
Mm-hmm. And you got to give Dirty Dom his props too, bro.
Oh yeah, man, he is doing amazing.
His outfits are getting worse. You notice that his outfits
bro.
are getting more
I think he's doing it on purpose. Like he's doing it on purpose, yo.
Like what was up with the the bullet thing he was wearing?
Bro,
I was like, what was the purpose of that? And then he had the cow boots on, not the cowboy, but the cow boots. I said,
with the tassels on him.
Yes, I said this man is he's feeding into it.
Yep. Now, were you guys on that train that Brian H was on that was kind of calling for Dom's heel turn?
Well, first of all, I didn't care for Dom at all at first.
Yeah, I didn't have a feeling about him.
But I mean, once he made that
bland.
Yeah. Once he made that heel turn, I was like, "Oh, this is something different. He got a little flavor to him now." So it's like
that's exactly the word too, brother. He got a little flavor to him. Yeah,
I'm with it now. So I mean,
see,
he was too cheesy as a face.
Yeah, and I was like, he needed something to go like, and I was the person that said I needed him to have his own identity because he was Rey Mysterio's son. We didn't know who Dominic was, especially even with the 619 finisher. I wanted to know who Dominic was, not Dominic Mysterio. I want to know what he was because he came in hot with the Seth match, but that's because him and Seth, you know, that match, and it was like, all right, you made him a heel. He's coming into his own now, and this Dirty Dom thing made me okay. I'm okay for this because Dirty Dom is hilarious. It was better than Dom. So when she called him Dirty Dom, I was like, wow.
She got it on her face and everything.
Bro, they've got so many freaking t-shirts, it's ridiculous. I go there. I said, yo, why they got so many different t-shirts? Like they're on fire right now.
He dropped like 4 of them last night.
That's what I'm
saying. 2 nights ago.
Straight looking like purple dragons from Static Shock. That's right. The guys get that reference. The brothers know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Bang babies.
Right.
Bang babies.
Bang babies. As I got this purple light, I look like I'm part of the Purple Dragons too. And it's girls in the mix too. So we got Purple Dragons.
Don't worry, I'll explain it on Realm After Dark.
Yeah, please do.
You'll go down a rabbit hole and you'll hate me anymore.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Brother, he'd be trying to live in peace until he opened up to a whole different world. And it's like, oh shoot.
It started
why did I do this?
It started with Power Rangers, man.
I'm telling you.
But he said, Thor Draken, wait a minute. I said, oh, he down that hole. Let him go down. Keep going. Call me back later. Call me back after you know
he said, nah, just bro, you're gonna be occupied for a while there, brother.
Right.
Go ahead and finish that out.
I even offered to bring in the comic books. I said, do you want to bring in the comic books?
I said, no.
I remember that. Yep.
I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
Oh yeah, you won't get anything done. But
yeah, you were literally in the house. Remember, he said he was in the house, binge watching Netflix that time. He said, I didn't leave the house for 3 days.
What was it that you were watching? It was
Voltron.
Voltron. Yeah.
You didn't leave the house for 3 days.
I didn't, man. I didn't.
He cursed me out.
I didn't.
I can't believe it. He said, I got up to do something. I went back to watch it.
I sent him a nice long text message like, bro, don't do that again.
Like, trust me. Brother Brandon has not scratched the surface. But like I say, we'll say that for Realm After Dark. But brothers, we got through it. Shout out to Brian H. Water, who should be back next week for our Wrestling Realm Now podcast party.
The number one go. There we go.
Yep. So definitely follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, YouTube at the
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling Realm. So stay close to the TV, stay close to the social media, ladies and gentlemen, because we are, like I said, we're still on this road to SummerSlam. And tonight we just wanted to kind of tackle some of these things that they've been kind of teasing, these potential matchups. So definitely leave comments about your potential matchups that you see. Uh, in the comment section, we'll definitely try to take a look at them and respond to them as soon as possible. We want to thank you for everybody that came out and hung with us tonight. I know we're still burning the midnight oil.
Mm-hmm.
Going a little bit late, man. It was a longer show, man, but this is kind of what we do. We like to have these type of conversations, and we like to have you involved as well. So if you're involved or you have questions, please reach out to us at Wrestling Realm on Twitter. I believe that's and we respond mostly on there. If you have any questions or any inquiries,
Yeah, we're glad
hit
to
us
right.
definitely hit us up at wrestlingrealm@gmail.com. And we'll definitely get to it. If you want to be a part of the show and kind of have your question featured, by all means, man. Thank you, the casual Russ. I appreciate you, good brother. See that? This is what it's about right there. See that?
There it is.
Good
There
show,
it is.
brothers. That's what I'm saying. We appreciate you, man. And we
And we made
appreciate
it through
you.
the whole show without.
No,
Well, you
no,
see that
you
right
didn't.
there?
No, you didn't. Because at the beginning of the show, he was
Right.
he was
Mm-hmm.
thinking I wasn't paying attention, but I saw him. He waits till I'm like in middle of the rundown or like the
Yep.
logistics, and then he just starts doing it. That's okay though, because
Make sure y'all support the good brother up there, Dwayne Allen, right here. Get your t-shirts. You know what I mean? Fresh
if
stuff going on right here. New exclusive things going.
if you got an attitude about life
There
and
it
you
is.
feel like you have not
Preach.
gotten your just due, my advice to you is to take respect, defy adversity. That's right. If they don't give you the respect that you know you've earned, just take it.
Just
You
take
got to
that
go
job.
up. You got to go above the call of duty. You got to do something that make them respect you. Take respect, defy adversity.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
brother Raj. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Where can
We
they find that
appreciate
at? Where can you find that shirt? I don't know where to get that from.
You can find it at trdabrand.com. Now the problem is they've all sold out. But they're
I guess that's a
but
good thing though. But
no,
you can follow you on
it is.
what you can follow it to figure what you do. You can follow it to check out what. I'm sorry, I'm trying to take notes here.
No, it's
And
fine. It's on
that's listening.
trdabrand.com. You can follow me on
DRDABRAND S
.com.
or
Nope, just one B.
brand.
One
Okay,
brand.
brand. Okay.
Yep. .com. You can also
Gotcha.
follow TRDA brand on Twitter and Instagram. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
That's the fastest place. And on Facebook. You can stay up to date on new drops. Yes, there is going to be a summer restock of these the snapbacks as well as the
Ooh, the
t-shirts.
snapback. Okay.
And guess what?
Oh.
Coming this winter, we're gonna probably drop the hoodies and start getting into the crew necks and casually dropping new pieces. Going into the fall, winter,
Yes, sir.
23 season. So yeah, by all means.
All I hear is a photo shoot. That's all I hear.
Oh no, it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. So it's gonna be fun. So I appreciate you, good brothers, always supporting. But like I said, TRDA, that's what I stand for. Take respect, defy adversity. Remember that. If you got a problem in life, if people not respecting you, if they're not giving you the credit you deserve, take respect, defy adversity. How do you take respect? You got to defy adversity. And trust me, you earned it, you deserve it. Take it, defy it, do your thing.
Amen.
On that note, before Brandon starts trolling me again and looking at the belt, I saw him. Catch us next week as we will, like I said, we have our Wrestling Rum Now podcast party. Hopefully I will have my title by then. You never know. But guess what? I have something that belongs to Brother Brandon too. That's right.
Ooh.
And it's going to be even exchange. My title has been held up for ransom for far too long, and hopefully by next week, who knows? I may have it, or may
I'm
not.
getting my intergalactic belt back.
Exactly.
The Wrestling Realm Intergalactic Championship.
As the wrestler, because that thing is massive. Intergalactic Championship. He's the champion of the galaxy.
Yeah.
But definitely join us next week. We thank you for watching. We thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for tuning in. I'm not sure when the podcast version of this will be up. It's because Brian H is busy. So whenever he gets situated.
Look who joined in at the last minute. Oh man, we about to sign off.
Oh man, dude. Look at that. We appreciate you joining us, man. We were just wrapping up, man. Time from the broadcast, man. We definitely appreciate you jumping in, man. Go back and watch it back. Like I said, while the build already had out, but like I said,
follow us on Twitter and leave your comments on Twitter. We will respond.
Please. That's where it's at, man. Like I said, that's your way to be a part of the goddamn show.
Yep.
Hit us up on Twitter. Ask us whatever you want. We will address it. If you tag it, put your name in it, send it to us. We'll address your show. We'll start answering. We'll start maybe if we get enough, we'll start doing a full-blown Q&A on the show. And then we can kind of answer the questions of the fans. Like I said, it's all about engagement. It's all about you all that enjoy the conversation with us. We're gonna have this conversation whether we record the show or not. So we love to
And
bring
I'm
this.
always up to talk about a belt.
Come on now, Championship Culture, youtube.com/wrestling realm. Check out the playlist, Championship Culture. So much more coming to you. Subscribe to our Patreon. We'll see you at SummerSlam. Peace.
Water.